When you hear the statement, love is the answer, love is the way, this is the truth. At some point, in order to kind of go there, you have to decide that you're going to stop everything you're doing and think about it. Think about how you would position yourself in your life to begin a process of choosing love and then start that process. A lot of times, what people say to me is that they don't know how to do it. So it feels frustrating. And, or they say that they just don't believe in it because they don't feel that maybe anyone ever loved them. And so there's a myriad of mixed up thoughts and emotions and stories and memories and pain that interfere with our ability to choose love. And as we move through these stages, then or these blocks, then we can start to see light at the end of the tunnel. Now, I want to describe some of the process and then expand from there. Often, when we start a path and love is the center of that path, and we say, okay, I want to be loving, the first thing that happens is our mind comes up and says, okay, yeah, that would be really nice. But practically speaking, what would that mean? I'd have to be a goody two shoes, or I'd have to smile at everyone all the time, even if I was feeling bad. Or I'd have to not tell people when I'm angry and just stuff it and deal with it later. Or my own needs won't get met. I'll be giving and giving and giving, and I'll always feel depleted. So our approach to love often holds all this negativity. And that's kind of the first. Then we generally back away from it and we try to give to ourselves in other ways. We might call things self-care, or we might say that we want to follow our heart's desires, or we might choose another route of thinking. And then inevitably, we may come back to the idea of got to open our heart. What might that look like? And at some points on people's path, they might say, oh, well, I am opening my heart. I am being loving. And I am practicing that. And when you get to the point where you say that, then remember this, that there's a deeper place for you to be. There is always a deeper place for all of us to be. So it's in our benefit to always say, we're ready to go to that next step. We're ready to imagine that wherever we are at now, it's great. We've made an effort. We got somewhere good, but there's more to go. And so we put forth the next effort and say, okay, yeah, we want to be loving. The next step of wanting to be loving is actually truly considering it and considering it every day. And then as we consider it, potentially as we see our hurt feelings arise or our anger arise or our judgment or whatever else is there, jealousy and more, then we say, okay, how can I be loving now? And our heart shows us, the first thing that our heart shows us is that you have to walk towards that emotional pain. So your focus doesn't get to go away from the emotional pain, it actually moves into it. Because the emotional pain, imagine, It's literally blocking you from the open heart. So to get to your open heart, you have to go through that pain. This is usually another stage where people back up and they go into other areas and other arenas to try to find help and healing and whatever they need in order to feel better. Inevitably, they come back and try again. Now, the third stage is actually taking a step forward. We see the open heart through our pain. We actually don't know what's on the other side of it. We don't know what it might feel like. We couldn't even really imagine it. But we know we have to go through this emotional pain that's creating the barrier between us and our open heart, between us and love, between us and a loving connection. At this point, if we're able to keep walking forward, it literally feels like the emotional pain is just, you know, uh, almost kind of putting us in a vice to push us forward. When we get to the other side and we're in the open heart, which I do want you to know it takes an Olympian feat, and you are all Olympians. When you get to that other side, you feel that you are in this wild place of beyond human strength, wild place of possibilities. It literally feels that you're suddenly standing on a mountaintop. And from that perspective, you are truly and deeply humbled by what it took you to get there, and deeply grateful because you know you didn't get there without help. But from that perspective, you now can see the experience that you were recently entrenched in from a million different angles, from 360 degrees and in all kinds of different ways. And love immediately is there to direct you and show you how to respond and what action to take next. And while you're responding and taking that action, the energy of love keeps giving you feedback. It keeps giving you the salve in the places where it hurt. It keeps giving you a buoyancy to keep going. And it keeps feeding you as you are also sharing it. So let's look now at all the different areas of why it's so important. Love does so many things. First of all, love heals us. All the places where we're carrying wounds from life experiences, all of the places where we feel less than, all the places where we feel we were not given something fundamental that other people have to have a successful life, all the places inside of us that feel fractured or broken. As we open our hearts, fill up with love, and we feel we're made whole again. Also, and I don't want to pass by this too fast because it's so important, that love heals. And love doesn't make us forget, but love creates a salve that allows us to feel sturdy, that allows us to feel calm, that allows us to feel peaceful and strong, that allows us to move past anything in our lives that made us feel put down. And as we start to open our hearts and, dabble and tiptoe in this idea of love, we then begin to see that love opens our minds. It increases our awareness. And it opens our minds and increases our awareness, not just of the person in front of us or of the situation in front of us, which all in itself is quite powerful, but it also opens our minds and awareness to ourselves, to the things inside of us that are motivating us or making us feel stuck or limiting us. And then it will show us also what next step it would take for us to begin a process of healing or a process of creating a great relationship with someone, or whatever we need in that moment with that circumstance. This is incredibly powerful and important. So it's incredibly powerful and important to know that as we open our hearts have and hold our true intelligence past what our mind has given us. And that intelligence can begin to work within us to establish directions and conversations and choices and decisions and relationships and whatever is in our lives in a way that sustains us, serves us, supports us, and sustains and serves and supports everyone around us, which is so what we're looking for in this life and in this world is how do we coexist and everyone gets taken care of. As you open your heart, everything starts to become clear to you. You start to become clear to you, others, and an understanding of what really works for success in this world and what doesn't. Now, this is just preliminary stuff, the beginning stuff, and it's so amazing all on its own. And I want you to know that we all have access to this. It's not something that you think, oh, I have to go to some or do some special process, or I have to go through something important to activate that, or the truth is you just have to want it more than anything else. And then you have to put it on your agenda every day. So, in other words, when you decide, okay, I do want to be loving, I want that to be the center of my life, to be my guide, then you decide that you're going to think about it, because thinking about it is the beginning of what activates it. Then, as you think about it more, you go inside and deepen your decision. So each step of the way, you're thinking about it. I want to be loving. What would that look like? What would it feel like? Where would I go? What would I do? What choices would I make? How would I feel? Just really kind of exploring it in a fun way, in a curious way. We all have access to this incredible magic that we're looking for in a million different ways and never finding, because it's not the heart. The magic that we're looking for lies in our heart, in our open heart. Now, then, as we start to kind of play with that, we see that we have areas inside of us that don't want to be loving, that don't care about love, that don't feel good about it, that don't think it's the answer, all of those things. So as that happens and we begin to see those parts, then we have to go back into the decision-making part of us, and we have to actually make a deeper decision. Every time you make a brand new decision, and inside of yourself, the resolve grows. Like, I'm not going to be thrown off this. In any decision in life, whether it's about getting a job, anything you want to achieve, there has to be a place inside of you where you say, it will happen. I will do this. It has to happen. And that's very different. I am sure that many of you have had times in your life where you've seen either other people or yourself go through something like, oh gosh, I just keep sending out applications or resumes and I don't get any replies. I can't get a job. Or, I really wanted to figure something out and I just couldn't, whatever it is. And you also know there's been times in your life where, my gosh, you knew this isn't a choice. I've got to make it happen. And so you scrambled. You said, I'm doing this and I'm finding a way. And then you also know there's things and moments and times in your life where you say, I need this now, I will get it. And it's an instant response. And you can see that it's connected to the level of the decision. So how much wishy-washiness do I have? How much toying do I have with, oh, who am I? Do I have the power to do this? Or am I good enough, etc.? And all of that goes away as you create this deeper and deeper resolve. So opening your heart and being love doesn't have to do with whether or not you can do it. And it doesn't have anything to do with whether or not it is a possibility for you in this lifetime, or you believe in it, or a million different things. It literally just has to do with you figuring out how to get to that part that says, I will do this. Nothing less than love will be good enough for me, coming from me in this world. This is what it takes. Once that decision is made, then love is at the top of your to-do list every day. It's at the top of your agenda in every interaction that you have. You now know that you're on a course to collide with your own open heart and then expand it more and more every day and learn more and drive more and be motivated by love more and. The choice to be loving allows you to reset the course of your life appropriately. If you feel stuck in situations or circumstances that don't suit you, the minute you open your heart, no true effort will really need to take place. You will see the circumstance or situation unraveling quite speedily and naturally. And you will see yourself tracking to a new destiny, a destiny that was the right destiny for you. Love allows us to continue to challenge ourselves, to continue to grow. There's no moment with an open heart where you ever feel like, I got this. I'm going to sit back and just enjoy this love. Okay, you might have those moments, and they're warm and they're wonderful and they feel so good. But our open heart always demands more from us. It always says, keep growing, keep expanding, because that's what our universe does. And our hearts are infinite. They have no end to the reach that they can have. And our open hearts will show us how to stay good, how to stay upright, how to stay healthy, how to stay free, how to stay in acceptance, how to be peaceful, even in a world that just is not peaceful. And our decision and then our practice with the open heart is the beginning of where we need to be. So every day you can practice feeling in love. You can practice with the wind outside, or the sun beaming at you, or the beautiful warm overcastness of the clouds. You can practice with yourself and say, oh my gosh, I love myself so much. You can practice by looking at, say, a beautiful piece of art that you love and just feel so much love being shared. There are many ways that you can practice, and you can practice just by deciding every day that at some point during the day, even for 5 or 10 minutes, you're going to practice checking in with your heart and asking your heart, what's the best thing and the highest thing and the most loving thing that I can do right now? And see if you get an idea or a feeling or something that is fun and positive and good, of course, and that you do one thing. It could be drink a glass of water or call a good friend or get up and walk around your house. It could be anything. You could practice having difficult conversations with people that you're afraid to have and practicing them in your imagination in a heart bubble. And then have that conversation with this infusion of love, feeling like love is in the room. You can create all kinds of fun practices, imaginations, thoughts, questions, all kinds of things. Imagery, you can just imagine love beaming from your eyes. Let's all do it now. I'm imagining love beaming through my eyes at each of you. You can imagine love just kind of pouring out of your body. You can imagine feeling being loved by divine love. So these are some thoughts that you can start playing with and, adding to and using to begin your thoughts and your interactions and your practices with love. And if I wanted to try to say what was my message tonight and what is my message tonight, my message is love is the way and love is the answer. Love is the answer to anything you could ask. Because once the open heart is activated, the answer is clear. And love is the way because it creates clarity on direction and destiny. So this is going to be the beginning of us moving together, deepening our practice of love in the open heart and taking it next level.